Can you see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in the last class, what we were discussing about the earthquake loading, isn't it? We were discussing the earthquake loading, and then we have gone to the wind loading. Okay. So the earthquake loading, we have done one problem, how to calculate the earthquake loading using static analysis. And today, let us see how we are going to calculate the wind load, because our subject is design of tall structures. So when you do the design of tall structures, the initial one is just 1 minute. Okay. Just 1 minute. Okay. I'm sorry. There was an important call came. So about the wind loading, the codal provision that we have to consider for the wind loading is IS 875 part 3. Okay. You have to refer IS code. Please note down in your notebook, please IS 875 part 3 2015 edition. Okay. There is the previous edition was 1987. The previous edition was 1987. So from 1987, the latest code is 2015 IS 875 part 3 is for the wind code, wind loading. Okay. So everybody should have your wind load design. This is a code book and the earthquake load code book. IS 1893 and IS 875 part 3 should be there with you throughout, because when you do the analysis, you have to refer the code book and do the problems. Okay. So here I'll just briefly look into the IS 875 part 3 today. Using that, you can do the problems and find out the wind load. Can you see this codal provision? Can you see this code? Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So please carry the code book from next class onwards. You should do the problems with that. So now, coming Monday, I will conduct a small test for you, because we will be completing the second unit today. So the first and second unit will be completed. So we will have a small test on Monday. So you may have to do some problems using the codal provisions. Okay. So here, this is the India map showing the wind speed regions. Okay. So here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 regions are there in 3 different colors. It is there. When you see the color code, you will understand the difference. So there is a basic wind speed. You can see it is 33 meter per second, 39, 44, 47, 50 and 55. Okay. So this is in the increasing wind speed values. So this is in meters per second. So the India is divided into 6 zones with the different wind speeds. So this is called the basic wind speed. So this basic wind speed is actually calculated or found out from the previous data, the meteorological data. The Indian IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, has collected the information with the previous experience and previous data available. With that, they have come to a conclusion. There is a so this can even change. This can even change, because suppose if in Chennai we have it is 50 meters per second. So Chennai we have it is 50 meters per second. So sometimes if continuously the wind speed is going to be very high, or it is going to be nearer more than 50 in a continuous number of years, then we may, this Chennai also may change. The wind speed may change accordingly. So this is the basic wind speed. Okay, so basic wind speed based on the 50 years return period. Okay, so previous past 50 years information that is collected, and from that the basic wind speed is determined. Okay. So now, so this is the codal provision. You please go through that. I will see. I will discuss only the important aspect, how to calculate the wind load. How to calculate the wind load. So here, in order to calculate the wind load, you can see a term here: design wind speed. Design wind speed. So the basic wind speed for any site shall be obtained from figure 1 and shall be modified to include the following effects to get the design wind speed Vz at any height Z for the chosen structure. So the basic wind speed is from the previous information or previous data collected from the meteorological department. So that has to be modified to get the design wind speed. So that modification is done on the design wind speed based on the risk level, the terrain roughness and height of the structure, the local topography, and the importance factor for the cyclonic region. So this fourth term is the newly added addition in the 2015 code. Till 1987, the first 3 factors were only considered. Now, when the code is revised, this last portion, the importance factor for cyclonic region, is also considered into the calculation of design wind speed. So this equation you should remember. Mathematically, including all these parameters, including that, there is a empirical relation that is developed, that is Vz is equal to Vb into K1, K2, K3, K4. Okay, where Vz is known as the design wind speed at a height of Z in meters per second. Vb is nothing but the basic wind speed that we have seen in the map, depending upon the area, whether it is a city or town, whichever area, the design wind speed is already given by the code. So this is Vb is the basic wind speed. Now K1, K2, K3, K4, there are 4 parameters, where K1 is called the probability factor or the risk coefficient. Okay, it is explained in 6.3.1. K2 is known as the terrain roughness and the height factor. Terrain is nothing but I will explain you what is terrain. Terrain roughness and height factor, the height of the building. So the K2 parameter will take of the height of the building as well as where it is located, in which terrain it is located. K3 is known as the topography factor. Topography is nothing but whether it is a level ground or it is in a hilly area or it is in a mountain area, or how the topography of the area, whether it is a flat area or a plain area or it is a completely populated area. So like that, the topography factor will be decided by K3 parameter, K3 factor. And K4 is the importance factor for the cyclonic region. Okay, so if you know that when the cyclone comes to Chennai, we have a cyclone comes, but more than Chennai, we have many other places. We have every year there is cyclone. Okay, so the importance factor for the cyclonic region also have to be taken into consideration to find out the design wind speed. Okay, so each parameter K1, K2, K3, and K4 can be calculated. It is given in the codal provision in each category. Okay, so first one, the risk coefficient K1 factor. So here I'll go directly. You have to read all these things. There is no time for me to read everything and explain here. Please download this code book and read all these things. Jagan, I think you can circulate all these things. Those anyone know if you can download this and circulate it in the group. Okay. Now, your 6.3.1, I'll explain you how it is that how to calculate the risk factor. See, table 1. Table 1, the risk coefficients for different classes of structures in different wind speed zones. So you can here left side, you can see a number of class of structures. First one is all general buildings and structures. Second one is temporary shed, such as during the construction operation, for example, formwork, false work, structures during construction stages and boundary walls. Third one is buildings and structures presenting a low degree of hazard to life, like wooden structures, etc. And fourth one is important buildings and structures such as hospital, communication buildings, towers, power plant structures. So these are the different class of structures. The second column gives you the mean probable design life of the structure in years. Mean probable design life of the structure means when a structure is constructed, before you will fix the design life. This building is going to be for a 50 years design life, or it is going to be only a 5 years or 25 years or 100 years. So you can see from this class of structures, all general buildings, the minimum design life is given is 50 years. Temporary structures, we give it for only for maximum 5 years. Wooden structures, 25 years. All important power plant, hospitals, buildings, the design life is 100 years is given. Okay, so this is what the design life of the structure. Now, based on the basic wind speed, you can see 3, 33, 39, 44, 47, 50, and 55. These are the 6 basic wind speed locations. So for each wind speed, suppose if I take a general building with the 50 years of return period, if my building is located in a area where the basic wind speed is 50 meter per second, then the value of K1 is 1. Okay, the value of K1 is 1. So similarly, from this table, depending upon the type of structure, depending upon the design life, depending upon the basic wind speed, the K1 factor can be calculated. Is it clear? Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If there is any clarity required, you can stop me in between. Okay. So this is how K1 is calculated. So the next factor is K2. K2 is nothing but the terrain factor, terrain category. What is K2? K2 was the terrain roughness and height factor. Okay. So what do you mean by terrain? Here 6.3.2 terrain and height factor, K2 factor is explained about that. So what is terrain? Terrain means, so terrain in which, how do I say? I'll just read it. Selection of terrain categories shall be made with due regard to the effect of obstructions which constitute the ground surface roughness. Suppose if I say, last class I explained you, when the wind tunnel and all, when we do the testing, the proposed building that you are going to construct, if it is surrounded by a number of buildings, okay, so that terrain is different. The obstructions near the proposed building. Suppose if you are going to construct a building in a seashore, where there are no other buildings existing there, okay, it is a standalone structure, or very few obstructions, very few low rise structures are there. So that is another type of terrain. Okay, or similarly, the terrain can be categorized. 4 categories are terrain categorized in code. So the first category is category 1. Terrain category 1 is, it is an exposed open terrain with few or no obstructions, and in which the average height of any object surrounding the structure is less than 1.5 meter. Okay, that means the terrain category 1 is nothing but an open terrain where there are not many other buildings surrounded by the proposed building. The obstructions near the building is the height will be less than 1.5 meter. It's very small huts. Okay, it's like an open terrain where there are no other structures existing. That is what is called category 1 terrain. Okay. So category 2 terrain, you can see category 2. It's an open terrain with well scattered obstructions having heights generally between 1.5 to 10 meter. So category 2 is also an open terrain where the surrounding buildings, the maximum height of the surrounding buildings will be between 1.5 meter to 10 meter, and that too it is not very closely spaced obstructions. It is scattered obstructions. Okay, that is category 2. Now if we come to category 3, category 3, a terrain with numerous closely spaced obstructions having the size of buildings or structures up to 10 meter in height with or without few isolated tall structures. So category 3 will be, you have a terrain with many closely spaced structures surrounding that with a maximum height of 10 meter height buildings, and very few tall structures, isolated tall structures also will be there near the proposed building. So that type of terrain is called category is called terrain category 3. Okay, and category 4 is, you can say category 4, terrain with numerous large high closely spaced obstructions. Okay, that means if you take a Chennai city or Bangalore city, Mumbai city, okay, Bangalore or any places, if you take, it will be so that particular terrain, you have numerous closely spaced structures and most of them are tall structures. So such terrain we call it as a terrain category 4. Okay, so I hope you understood what is terrain category 1, 2, 3 and 4. So before you calculate the wind load, you should identify the structure which is you are going to construct is in which terrain, whether it is in category 1, 2, 3 or 4. Okay, so you have to read all these things. Please read all the code book provisions. So from that, you can see a table 2 here. Table 2 here, you can see height of the building, 10, 15, 20, up to 500 meter height it is given here. Okay, and here terrain category 1, 2, 3 and 4 it is given horizontally. So if your building is of height, excuse me, if the building is of height 20 meter height, and if the building is in a terrain category 1, then the K2 factor is 1.12. Okay. Or if it is of 200 meter height in category 3, this 1.27 is the K2 factor. Suppose if the building height is in between 25 meter, then you have to interpolate the value between 20 and 30 or 38 meter. So all the intermediate values, you can use the linear interpolation. Okay, so this is how you calculate the category, the terrain factor K2. Okay. Is it understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the third factor is the topography factor. That is called the K3 factor. Okay. So the basic wind speed VB given in figure takes into account the general level of sight above sea level. This does not allow for local topography features such as hills, valleys, cliffs, escarpments or ridges which can significantly affect the wind speed in their vicinity. Okay. The effect of topography is to accelerate wind near the summits of hills or crest or cliff, escarpment or ridges, and decelerate the wind in valleys or near the foot of the cliffs, steep escarpments, etc. That means if you have if you have a terrain like this, okay, and if your building is located somewhere here, okay, if your building is somewhere here, this is at the top of the hill. Okay, sometimes your building may be somewhere in this landing. Sometimes your building will be in the valley. Okay, so the building locations can be either at the top of the hill or in the slopy land or in a, suppose if this is like a valley, and then it is going again high. So this becomes a valley. Okay. So the wind speed in the valley, wind speed in the at the top of the hill, wind speed at the sloping land, or if it is in a plain land. So all this is called the topography. Okay. So you can see if you go to the northeast or in any hilly area, Ooty, Kodaikanal, or any places, the topography is different. Whereas if you take the Chennai city, it is a plain topography. Okay, it's a plain land. So this is what the topography means. So here it is given there. The effect of topography shall be significant at a site when the upward slope theta is more than about 3 degree. Upwind slope means this is the plain land. This is the upwind slope. Okay, so this angle, this is called the slope. So if that is less than 3 degree, if it is less than 3 degree, the value of K3 may be taken to be equal to 1. Okay. If the value of K3 is confined in the range of 1 to 1.36 for slopes more than 3 degree. So for more than 3 degree, value of K3 will be in between 1 and 1.36. Okay. A method of evaluating the value of K3 for values more than 1 is given in Annex 3. So there is an annexure given. We will discuss it later. You can go through that, how to calculate the value of K3 if it is greater than 1 and if the value it is more than 3 degree, the slope is more than 3 degree, how to take. Otherwise, if it is a plain land, K3 value is taken as 1. Okay, so that is what about K3. Now K4 is the importance factor for cyclonic region K4. So K4, the east coast of India is relatively more vulnerable for occurrences of severe cyclones. We know that every year we experience a cyclone. Okay, on the west coast, Gujarat is vulnerable for severe cyclone. So studies of wind speed, it is given here. You can read all these data informations, etc. So the value of K4, it is given here. Structures of post-cyclonic importance for emergency services such as cyclone shelter, hospital, schools, communication tower, industrial structures. Such structures, it is taken as K4 is taken as 1.3. For industrial structures, it is 1.15. For all other structures, it is taken as 1. Okay. So depending upon the nature of the structure and depending upon the region where it is located, your K4 value is taken as between 1 and 1.3, 1.15 and 1.3. So once you know the values of K1, K2, K3 and K4, now you know, we were discussing it. I've showed you the formula. So what is the formula? The design wind speed Vz is equal to Vb into K1, K2, K3, K4. So you got the design wind speed. Once you get the design wind speed, you can calculate the design wind pressure. Okay. You can calculate the design wind pressure. I'll tell you. The formula is wait 1 minute, I have to it is 0.6. Oh, see here it is. Okay, the design wind pressure. Can you see that? 7.2 design wind pressure. The wind pressure at any height above mean ground level shall be obtained by the following relationship. That is Pz is equal to 0.6 Vz square. Okay. 0.6 Vz square, where Pz is the design wind pressure and Vz is the design wind speed. Okay. Is it clear? At least this much is clear. You know the basic wind speed initially. Or from the basic wind speed, you will be calculating the design wind speed based on the K1, K2, K3, K4 parameter. Once you get the Vz, the design wind pressure can be Pz can be calculated as point. It is not the design wind pressure. The wind pressure at any height Pz 0.6 Vz square, and the design wind pressure PD is Kd, Ka, Kc, Pc. These are all the new additions in the 2015 code. Okay. Where Kd is called the wind directionality factor, Ka is called the area averaging factor, and Kc is called the combination factor, etc. So all these values are given here. We are not going much deep into this. you please go through the codal provision. It is must. Okay. As structural engineers, you should know what is the wind code. IS 875 part 3. You have to go through that and read everything, and it is well self-explanatory. It is given here. Okay. The value of PD, however, shall not be taken as less than 0.7 PZ. So once you know the PZ value, the design wind pressure can be, PD can be, it should not be less than 0.7 PZ. Even though if you calculate with this equation, it should not be less than 0.7 PZ. Okay. So all these factors are given here. KD, KA, all this, it is given as only 1. KD is also taken as 1. Similarly, KA, it is given here. Depending upon the area, KA values are given there. All these things. Okay. I hope you understood up to this. Is it clear? Tell me, please give me a feedback. Let me get a feedback. Shweta?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear up to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Kritika? Kritika is here. Kavya Rasu?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Jagan?
Ma'am?
Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you hear? Are you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Really? Or just like that, your system is on and you are somewhere?
No, ma'am.
Samre Selvan?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to understand what I
Yes,
told
ma'am.
just now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here, I'll just quickly, before doing the problem, I'll just explain what are all the features in the codal provision. Okay. So now this is about the whatever we have calculated the wind load. It is for the entire structure. Okay. It is not the wind load. We have calculated only the wind speed and wind pressure. Now how to calculate the wind load? Okay. So wind load on individual members. Individual members, when you calculate the wind load, here you have an equation here. F is equal to CPE minus CPI into A into PD. Okay. Where CPE is called the wind load F acting in a direction normal to the individual structural element or cladding unit is. This is the equation. You should remember this equation. F is equal to CPE minus CPI into A into PD. What is called CPE? CPE is nothing but the external pressure coefficient. External pressure coefficient. CPI is known as the internal pressure coefficient. A is known as the surface area of the structural element or cladding unit, and PD is the design wind pressure. This design wind pressure, the previous I explained you how to calculate the design wind pressure. Okay. From the previous expression I explained up to this. This is okay. This you can understand. One area is the surface area of the structural element where the wind load is going to be affected. So that is the area A. And you can see another two coefficients here, external pressure coefficient and internal pressure coefficient. This external pressure coefficient depends upon the, I'll tell you, you have before that internal, I think we'll discuss. Internal pressure coefficient depends upon the number of openings. Okay. If you have a building, if you assume if it is a room, you have a room, I'll just explain. Okay. Suppose this is your room. You have one room here. And this room, if there is no opening, at all, then the internal pressure CPI, that is the internal pressure coefficient CPI, will be a different value. Suppose if you have an opening like this, if there is an opening only on these two sides, then your CPI will have some other value. And if you have opening on all the four sides, so that means when the wind load that enters into this building, into this room, and this is your wind flow, isn't it? So depending upon the openings that you are given, the percentage of opening that is given in this building, in this room, your CPI value depends. That is the internal pressure coefficient. Okay, so your code has given some information. Internal pressure, air pressure in a building depends upon the degree of permeability of cladding to the flow of air. So the internal pressure may be positive or negative depending upon the direction of flow of air in relation to the openings in the buildings. Okay, so internal pressure coefficient depends upon the openings. So there it is. There is a number of informations given there. You can read that. In the case of buildings where the claddings permit the flow of air with openings not more than about 5% of the wall area, but there are no large openings, it is necessary to consider the possibility of the internal pressure being positive or negative. Two design conditions shall be examined, one with internal pressure coefficient plus 0.2 and another with internal pressure coefficient minus 0.2. You can read all these things. So here this internal pressure coefficient purely depends upon the openings. If the percentage of opening, if there is 20% opening, what is the value of CPI? If it is more than that, what is the value of CPI? So that information is given in the codal provisions. Okay, so that is what is called CPI. Now you have external pressure coefficient. See, external pressure coefficient CPE, that depends upon the, I can show you here, it depends upon the direction of the wind flow, the direction of the wind flow, whether it is acting horizontally or it is in the vertical direction, and depending upon whether it is a flat roof or if it is a pitched roof, a sloped roof, the angle of inclination, the dimensions. So the external pressure coefficient depends upon the geometry of the building. It depends upon the geometry of the building, depends upon the type of the roof, whether it is a flat roof or a sloped roof. Okay, so all these parameters are affecting the value of CPE. That is the, you can see here, you can see a table here. Okay, external pressure coefficient CPE for walls of rectangular clad buildings. If the building is a rectangular building and if the ratio, you have a building to height ratio, okay, H by W, that is the height to width ratio of the building. If it is less than 1/2, then the plan ratio, length to width ratio, if it is this much, if the elevation is like this, and if the plan, if the angle, this is the angle theta, if theta is 0 degree and theta is 90 degree, then on which face you have face A, face B, face C and D. If in a building, if you take, you have four different directions, or 4 different faces of the building is there. So at each face, at each angle of wind angle, and for this plan dimension, for the aspect ratio, what is the value of CPE for all surfaces? So that is what it is given here. Okay, if the wind at 0 degree means it is horizontal. Okay, theta is 0 means the wind angle is horizontal like this, normal to this surface. So then at this surface, the CPE value will be 0.7, the other face it is minus 0.2, other face it is minus 0.5, minus 0.5, etc. If it is 90 degree, what is the value? So depending upon that, a number of informations given here, depending upon your geometry of the building, depending upon the aspect ratio of the building, depending upon the angle of inclination of the wind, the CPE value can be calculated. Okay, so you can see if it is a sloped roof, if it is a sloped roof, if the theta values are different for theta values, for different wind angles, different CPE values are given here. Okay, so I'm not going much into this because when you learn the wind engineering subject, this entire will be discussed in detail. Now for us, you should know how to calculate the wind load. You should have an idea. Okay, that's what this subject gives you. So there are many ways it is given here how to calculate the CPE values. Okay, for different types of structures. Roof, you can see as a combined roof, roofs at bottom, cylindrical elevated structure, pitched roof, overhang roofs. So for all types of roofs with a skylight, so many sphere frames, cylindrical structures, curved roofs. Okay, so for all types of roofs and structures, how to calculate the CPE value is given there. So once you know the CPE value, okay, you can calculate the force. Once you know CPE and CPI, the force, the wind load on the structure F is equal to CPE minus CPI into the area the surface area on which the wind is affecting multiplied by the design wind pressure. Design wind pressure is nothing but whatever it is, your 0.6 Vz square. This is nothing but your Pz, the wind pressure multiplied by whatever some fractions were given, Ka, Kd, etc. Okay, some more. So this is how we calculate the Pd value. Okay, this is what is called the wind load. Is it understood how to calculate the wind load on a structure? Is it clear? This is your static analysis. Again, like earthquake, wind also you have static analysis as well as dynamic analysis. Okay, so now whatever we are talking about is a static analysis. Is it clear? So these are all about your CPE values. Okay, there are so much of information is given here. Different types of buildings, different angle of inclination, different types of roof. See, you can see the roof springing from a ground level, curved roofs, domes. See the spheres. Okay. Is it? I hope you are able to understand a little bit of it. Then you have so many other parameters here. You have a drag force, lift force, so many things. Wind engineering is a very complicated topic because you don't know the direction of wind exactly how it is coming. When a wind is affecting on a particular structure, there are two types of forces developed. One is called a drag force, other one is called a lift force. Drag force is nothing but if this is the direction of wind when it is coming, the force that is generated along this direction is called drag force. Okay, and the opposite direction, the perpendicular to that drag force, the force developed is called lift force. Drag force and lift force. Okay, so these two again which has to be taken into consideration. Lift force is more vulnerable, but drag force is predominant. Lift force is very rarely we can take the lift force, but when if there is a lift force, that is why your aeroplane, your aerodynamic effect is more important. Whenever you study an aeronautical engineering student, they study mainly the wind aspect. Okay, the wind tunnel studies how, because when an aeroplane flies, it is completely surrounded by wind. So that aerodynamic effect has to be studied. An aeronautical engineer student has to be completely studying the aerodynamic effect, how the wind effects are there on the structure. Similarly, like aeroplane, instead of aeroplane, we have the building. So the building also will be subjected to all types of forces due to wind. All types of effects will be there. All these things we have to, especially bridges. Okay, especially bridges and the flyovers. So I'll leave all these things. You please go through all these things. Okay, there are different force coefficients, etc. Then there is called an interference effect. All these things I'm not going to discuss all these things. Okay. Now, this is what we were calculating in the static analysis. Now the same wind, when wind is blowing, there is a dynamic effect also. Okay, there's a dynamic effect. I'm going a little fast because we lost some classes. The 2 Fridays classes we missed, isn't it? So I'll be completing today your second unit, and next week we'll start the third unit. I don't know when is your. Do you get any information about the examination? Did you get any information about your semester examination?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So soon you will be getting, because we started very late because there should not be any delay in your semester. So most probably your exams your first year, actually BTech first year exams are starting from 18th February, 18th January. Oh, I don't know about your MTech. Now maybe 18th it may not be possible. So maybe February first week you may have your examination. Okay. So you have your next one is the dynamic effect. In my next class is also mine, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So I think now you can leave now. You can join at 11 o'clock. Okay, then we will do one problem based on this and we'll discuss the dynamic effects and we'll complete the second unit today. Okay, so take 10 minutes break. By 11:05 you can join. Okay. Is that okay? 5 minutes
Yes.
extra we have taken. You join by 11:05. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Mm.